Namaste, and welcome to this video on the seasons of life. I am Master Colleen Inman, and what I'm here to share with you in this video is the idea of the seasons of life in relationship to the 5-element structure in traditional Chinese medicine or in the Taoist philosophy. Very scientific. The idea here is we have 5 elements of life, and I should have wrote the elements up here. I'll do that for you really quick. First, we have a wood element, and wood element is, this is the symbol here, so you can see a flat level ground, a little sprout, and some roots developing. The wood element in traditional Chinese medicine relates to ages 0 to 8, and the idea of sprouting. The idea of sprouting at ages 0 to 8, this actually begins with gestation. So even before the physical birth process is the idea of when the sperm and the egg come together immediately, begins this whole process. And that's when the seed was laying dormant in the soil, that moment when it sparked and it begins to generate a growing process or life process. During this ages 0 to 8, it's related to the wood element by the idea of sprouting. Everything is new, everything is coming up. During this phase, you're sprouting into life, you're learning the cycles, you're learning your culture cycles, your family cycles, speech pattern cycles, so much stuff as you're sprouting in all these different areas. Spring is also, a wood element is related to the spring, and it's about starting new things. So everything is new. You have your first this, your first walking, your first taste, your first amusement park ride, your first this, your first that. It's all new, it's all starting, it's all kind of up and coming. You're planting seeds for the rest of your life because in that time, all the seeds of who you think you're going to be, your complex in the world, all this stuff, the seeds are kind of put into that future piece. So that's ages 0 to 8. Then 8 to 33 here, this is what's called the fire element or fire time, fire season of the life. And poof, the symbol is about exploding. It's growing, ages 8 to 33, so lots of growing. Yes, you did tons and tons of growing here, an unbelievable amount of sprouting, especially physically. But of course, you're going to go through another style of growing here. This, of course, would be something of puberty or something of that nature. In gardening, you would have your little seedling, and then you would have the plant begins to grow, and there's an idea called bolting, and that's when the plant grows really big and the flowers start to come up. This is also a flowering time. I'll put flowering because that's very useful to understand. But growing, flowering, and bolting. So usually what happens is people, they grow up, they flower into who they're going to be, they bolt from the family nest. So this is a very energetically almost outward going time. It's going to be that time in your life when you have the most get up and go and leave your family surroundings, or maybe even your high school and you go off to college, all these different things. You begin to go out to the world. Maybe you get your glimpses of career, things that you might want to do. A lot of love, fire element, heart. So a lot of that kind of passionate love idea, young love, kind of comes in during this particular phase. So this is what we have in the fire season of life. Now, next we go into the earth season. And earth season, this is a very, now what happens here is the energy went up, the energy went up, right? You are sprouting, you're coming up through the soil, you're growing, you're kind of expanding. Now what here is the earth energy begins to kind of balance out. I like to look at the earth energy as an equal sign staked down into the earth for a grounding piece. So what happens is this sprout that grew, or that sprouted and grew and flowered, now begins to have a fruit on it. So this is when ages 33 to 58, your life begins to fruit. Things begin to manifest. Things begin to solidify. What you went to school for, maybe you show up in your day-to-day reality, your day-to-day life, your career, maybe the jobs you took here become a career and a lifestyle. 33 to 58, you acquire a nest, a house, a family, maybe children, a community of friends. But a lot of this begins to happen, this fruiting, phase. You gather the most stuff. Earth also belongs to form and gathering fruit. So this tends to be a time in life when you have the most stuff. Yes, you have a lot of stuff as kids, but it's given to you, and you're going to usually leave a lot of that behind. During this phase, you leave a ton of that behind. You go out and start anew. Here, you gather. Later, what happens most of the time in this stage, people begin to cut away. But the idea is I have this, the fruiting action, the fruits of my labor begin to appear here. Now, they're not going to be harvested here because that comes next. But this is when the fruiting shows up. This is when I can see what's my potential. What do I have to work with? What kind of farmer am I? What kind of fruit am I producing? Is it corn? Is it this? This is where I'm going to get that understanding and that glimpse. Same with like usually who I am. And this would be the earth season of life. Then we have the metal season. And the metal season is related to ages 58 to 83. And the harvesting, so they say you reap what you sow. During these times, however you lived, however you behaved, whatever you did for your career, however you treated your family, however you treated your community, whatever you did during these years, now it shows that you're going to kind of reap what you show here. What's your retirement look like? If there's such thing as retirement later, but what does it look like? What are you able to do? What are you going to harvest? What kind of knowledge are you going to harvest? I learned all of this through these years, so I begin kind of gathering and harvesting that knowledge. Also belonging to metal, things begin to cut away during these years, 58 to 83. It's a natural process. We have so much attachment to the joy of youth, but then when the metal comes, there's almost, of course, metal belongs to sorrow, but it's difficult. We're so, as human beings, so attached to what's coming in and so resistant to letting things go. And that metal season is actually there to help us learn to let go. Because ultimately, what's the grand thing in life that's going to happen is we have to let go of this particular incarnation or body, whatever you might believe, or go around on the planet. So this is kind of a preparation for that. The idea with the metal season, you begin to cut away at careers. You begin to cut away at stuff. Maybe the kids leave the house, so you begin to get rid of all these things, and you kind of pare down. Maybe you gather your retirement funds. You know, all these kind of different things. Yes, it belongs to other things such as skin. So here in the earth phase, and again, how you behaved physically in each one of these are important. In the spring, did you set the muscle tendons? Were you active? Did you move around, or were you not? Affects how you were here. How much activity you had here will affect your body mass. This is a lot of time when people put on weight and it shows up and they're like, I don't know what happened. Well, a lot of it could be from what they did or did not do during the season. The good news is you can work with that. The body is very resilient, but that could be the case. It's like, all of a sudden at 33, start putting on kind of this different body mass. Well, I'm not really sure what happened. Could have been how you lived there. Could be genetics or body style. We have other videos that go through your elemental constitution. So it could be something in there. Also, because what happens is you have free energy. They say in these first two, you could stay up all night, you could party, you could do your things, get up the next day, go to work. Then between 58 or 33 to 58, that kind of falls away. Staying up all night and going to work becomes very difficult. Your energy levels change. So again, in the metal, this is the autumn of life or the fall of life or the harvesting. So the energy kind of drops. We're kind of meant to cut away from all of too much outside, growing, gathering, making, building, developing, expanding, all of this stuff. And begin to just kind of, okay, I'm going to cut away to some simple pictures of best lifestyle. Not that you don't want that through here, but sometimes life can be very active in that way. So can we come to harmonize with this particular season, or are we just going to simply resist this particular season? Is up to us in our ability to let go. And you can look at the word let go as a sense of loss. And it technically is, but does it have to be such an emotionally charged? Sometimes loss isn't always a bad thing. Maybe you lose a person who wasn't really a friend and you might have a sense of loss, but you gain realizing who friends are. So not saying that always happens here, but that's a general view. So 8 to 33, metal season, other things that happen, the skin changes, it belongs to metal, the lungs begin to change. So all these different things begin to happen. Finally, what we have down here is we have the water season. And water season, okay, again, I like to see this is like a metal knife. Water, the energy, water drills down. Think of like a waterfall. So water season, ages 83 to 108. The water element is all about transforming, becoming the next thing, depending on your belief structure. You can look at transforming as transforming to leave to the next realm of reality, transforming to start again in reincarnation, whatever works for you, transforming just to let this kind of wash away. But either way, there's this transforming piece that occurs. We're told that if we lived optimally, there's no reason we can't live 108 to 120 years. It depends on how we live, though, and of course a few other factors. But there's this transforming time. Water also belongs to wisdom. So a big thing that's really highlighted during this time in the Taoist structure is the wisdom of the elders, ages 8 to 33, should truly be given to the youth, ages 0 to 8, so the youth doesn't repeat the lessons that had to be learned from here. Sure, they'll have to gain their own wisdom, but maybe they can get some foresight in their knowledge, because this is a full cycle. The water does come up and feed the wood, right? Wood feeds fire, right? You put wood on a fire to make it go. Fire eventually turns to ash, which is earth. The ash compresses, creates the heavy metals, and that metal pushes down, condenses, and creates under the bedrock would be the water, and it comes back up. So it's a full cycle over and over. So during this transforming time, yes, I am transforming. I am going to work on letting go of this body, becoming okay with it, but also transforming and really becoming identified with the I am within. Sometimes what happens is here during the first years of life, we become, our ego is developed. So the internal indwelling spirit or the I am within may start to get layered or covered, especially by the time we get here. There's so much going on, and then covering with the world of form, we begin to cut it away, and we're starting to say, no, I'm not my house, I'm not this, I'm not that. You begin to kind of cut away at these things. Really the true result, or the true stalking that we're trying to do, is to use this harvesting to uncover and be able to see the true I am within, and that's the transformation that's happening. There's like a warrior, scholar, sage topic that happens here. But the idea is, can I transform into my higher self, my best self, my wisest self that I have been able to be this entire life? So in the seasons of life, you want to be able to get to know where you are in that season of life. Now you'll notice there's 5 elements here, and except for the first one, they all have, and there's a whole theory behind that, but I'll go with the easy ones for now. Each one of these have a 25-year segment. So if you see the fire element has a 25-year segment, ages 8 to 33. And really what that is if there's 5 elements in 25 years here, each element has 5 years. So this does break down, ages 8 to 13 would be what's called, I'll draw it in a second, wood of fire. 13 to 18 is fire of fire. If anybody's ever raised teenage children, you would be able to see how the ages 8 to 13, they are the most fiery of fire that they can be. They're just on fire. So it's natural. It's funny how that works out. 18 to 23 is going to be earth, 23, 28, and then 28 to 33. And each one of these has a pattern to it. So wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Okay? So we have, in the fire phase, we have the first 5 years would be called wood of fire. The next 5 years would be fire of fire, earth of fire, metal of fire, and water of fire. Those will belong. Now you'll notice each of these are 5-year segments. They too break down to the 5. So the first year of this, age 8, would be wood of fire. The second year would be fire of wood of fire. Again, it goes all the way down. So you can look and get to know what particular age you are and where you are in the cycle. Are you in wood of fire? You can just start first. Oh, I'm in earth. Okay? Earth, I'm going to work on fruiting. I'm going to learn all things that have to do with the earth element. So I'm going to manage my body mass. I'm going to work on knowledge, learning, acquiring new information. I'm going to work on gathering fruit, being able to put stuff together. solidifying stuff, really solidifying my career, my family, what I'm going to kind of do. Maybe it's, even if you're a traveler, you're solidifying being a traveler. It's still a solidification. It's still kind of gathering that in, because these are kind of outgoing energies. So take some time, see which season you're in, and begin to research in traditional Chinese medicine, the fire element, the earth element. We're happy to, of course, help you with that. There's other videos. You can learn that through our training programs, so that's fine. That's always available to you. Feel free to send in a comment, ask questions, and let us help you align with your season of life. Thank you for joining in this video. I will see you in the next one. Namaste.